There's two anagram results. One is one, and one is what's called 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧𝙞𝙜. 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮 means what's in
The Sovereign Citizen.
video. So there's going to be a video presented. I've got the officer, Officer Tony is going to testify, and he's going to be, he was wearing a body cam, so that's all going to be there. And then the only other witness that we have is the state police lab person. And she is going to be, she's present already, so she drove down from Lansing, so we're going to take her out of order, put her on first, which is a little backwards. Usually we put the officer on first, but, you know, in order to make economical for the lab person, she's got to get back to Lansing, so we'll put her on first. So, but my job is to present the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to satisfy you. In this case, in Sumter Township, Mr. Block was had operated a motor vehicle. At the time the police came upon him, he was in a car on Clark Road, and somebody had called the police because the car was in the road with the door open, and Mr. Block was sleeping. He was dead tired, I guess, passed out. So you'll see the interaction with the officer. What transpired there with the officer was great deliberation made, because alcohol, they thought it was under the influence of alcohol, but it turns out it wasn't alcohol, but it was marijuana. So after great deliberation, I thought the officers do a real good job trying to just, winnow through what actually happened and narrow it down. But the decision was made to place Mr. Block under arrest, and at that point offer him a blood which he consented to. And that transpired. They took him to the hospital and drew the blood, and then it's up to the state. The results of that show it's in, believe it or not, if anybody doesn't have any experience with marijuana, it's in nanograms. Nanograms. You see it on the lab result. It's got NG. There's two nanogram results. One is one, and one is what's called 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧𝙞𝙜. 𝘾𝙤𝙥 means what's in your system, maybe from smoking marijuana previously, days or weeks ahead of time, it builds up through your system, and then it gives you a level. And so the lab person can see as to what all that means, but she is not going to be able to say, she can't make the decision for you whether Mr. Block was operating or had operated the vehicle under the influence. That's going to be strictly your call. You have the real ultimate job here is to make that decision. All we're going to do is present the evidence. Mr. Duncan is the defense lawyer. We'll try to poke holes in whatever we present, and ultimately we'll come back to you folks to make the decision. That's the $64,000 was Mr. Block operated a motor vehicle while under the influence of marijuana, or would have his ability been impaired as a result of the consumption of marijuana. So that's it in a nutshell. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, Matthew. So this case is a little bit different, and it's a criminal case, so it's very serious. My client's accused of committing a crime. So what the evidence is going to, there's some stuff the evidence is going to show, there won't really be much doubt about it. You're going to see, and you're going to give testimony that Mr. Block was parked on Clark Road, which is a rural dirt road, in at Sumter, you're on top of the road. He was parked on the side, not in the middle of the road, which you may hear if you're going to see the video, but he was parked on the side of the road. Engine is off, and it's going to show Mr. Block is sleeping. His door is open. That's probably the one thing that's a little bit different. In that unopened door, evidence is going to show. So the question is, was Mr. Black operating that vehicle while intoxicated by marijuana. The evidence you're gonna hear when the officer gets there, and he brings a couple other officers over. So we have 3 officers there in the end. The officer, and you're gonna see it's pretty obvious, is not buying anything that anybody's saying. He thinks that my client is under the influence of alcohol. He thinks he smells, or if he can't smell it, then he does smell it at some point in time. But there's no alcohol. You're gonna see evidence saying 0 for alcohol. But the evidence is gonna show that that officer told me, at least from the beginning, that, in my opinion, I believe you're gonna see that Mr. Black was intoxicated. So what do we have to show? To show that he's intoxicated. A, it's an operating on intoxicated case. Operating a motor vehicle. We have to show that the driving was substantially effective. So I guess what the evidence, what the prosecutor is going to try to show, the fact that he's parked with the engine off sleeping is enough to show you that his driving was substantially effective. I don't believe you're going to hear any evidence of any driving prior to that. You're not going to hear you're not going to see or hear any evidence that the driving was off, except for him being asleep in the road. And you're going to hear some sobriety tests. The officer Tony gave some sobriety tests. I want you to listen closely as to whether Officer Tony is qualified to give sobriety tests. I mean, that's something you get qualified to do when you want people on a jury or a judge to hear it and comment on it. So I'm just going to leave it to you, and you can listen to the evidence when Officer Tony testifies to see if he was even qualified to give these tests. And then you're going to get a lab report saying 5.8 nanograms. The other number really isn't important. I'll let the lab tell you what it means, but it doesn't mean anything for purpose to what we're here for today. I think I could be wrong, but I at least. So what does 5.8 nanograms mean? How does that affect you to say that you're intoxicated? When does that mean you use marijuana? Did you smoke marijuana? Did you take gummies? Has it been hours? Has it been a day? That's what we have to hear if you want to use a number without any context. You're not going to get any context on this number. There's 5.8 nanograms. That's what the testimony is. So I want you to have to, I'm hoping that you will try to, in order, in my opinion, for the prosecutor to prove this case, they have to prove these things. They just can't come and show you a number and say, this is it. There's marijuana. There's marijuana is legal, and people smoke marijuana. Doesn't mean people drink alcohol and drive. That doesn't mean there can be a crime. It's got to be to a point. So I believe after you hear all the evidence, my position that the client was parked on the side of the road, sleeping. It's not a crime. He was sleeping. And that's, I hope you see it my way and you find that guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Are we ready for the witness?
Yes.
What's your name? Kellogg? Good morning. All the way up front, please. Raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today. Watch your step on my ramp. Make yourself comfortable in that chair. Kellogg like the cereal,
Like that, not the same.
but spelled the same. Thank you. When you're ready.
We still, thank you for coming down on the Philadelphia Ransom today. Thank you very much. And Jury understands that we're taking you out of order. We're trying to get you back up to Lansing to get you to the job, so. Take the full name for the record, please.
My name is Samantha Kellogg.
And you were employed with the state of Michigan, correct?
Yeah.
And what is your job title?
I am currently a supervisor in the toxicology unit.
And how long have you been supervisor of the lab?
Coming up on 3 years.
And prior to that, you worked in the lab also before you became supervisor, you worked your way up, correct?
Yes, I was a forensic scientist in the toxicology unit.
Okay, and in your training and in your education, you have submitted a resume, which we got here, got it marked.
Yes, I do.
You have an objection to it?
Yeah, I have an objection. Judge, if I may.
Yeah.
The lab tech's being admitted, which I don't object to, there's a syllabus on the lab tech's qualifications, which I guess I don't object to, but there's an article from somebody I don't know, I certainly object to that from being introduced. I don't know what that is, but I don't.
Okay. So you're Mr. Hurley, you're trying to get in her resume?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Exhibit number 2, the lab report, exhibit number 1, and then number 3 is an article that Ms. Tella presented to us as a basis for her background in as
Okay. Well, let's break it up. Any objections to 1 and 2? One is
One, I don't object to. 2, I think the witness can testify to, but I mean, usually the witness will testify to it, but no, I don't object to 2, but 3 I do.
okay. So when what's the objection to 3?
It's an article written by a third party.
So it's hearsay?
It's not
Okay.
the witness.
Okay.
offered to prove the truth of the matter is sort of it's just background in terms of what Ms. Tella is going to base her education and what she does on. This is primarily her source.
But I didn't testify.
Yeah.
We can get live
Okay,
testimony.
well, I'd be happy to go into it. I'd be happy to go into it.
I'll hold off on the objections, see where we go.
What I have here is what's been marked. Exhibits 1 and 2. Exhibit 1 is the lab report. Exhibit 2 is your CV, correct?
Yes,
Curriculum vitae, and that goes over your background and education. And so you've been in this business for a while. You're not that old, but you've been in this for a little while.
I've been working for the state police lab for 11 years.
Okay. So you deal strictly with alcohol or drugs or both?
We do testing primarily on blood for both alcohol and drugs.
Okay. And you are trained with regard to controlled substance, marijuana?
Yes,
In Michigan, is marijuana a controlled substance?
that's a difficult question. We do follow the federal list of controlled substances, so it is listed on there. However, there was also the vote that allowed recreational marijuana here, so that can get a little complicated in different jurisdictions handle that.
So with regard to marijuana, as I understand it, the active ingredient is THC, correct?
Yes, delta-9 THC.
And that's basically what is the controlled substance portion of it.
Yes, that is.
Okay. And in this particular case, what would be the process or protocol with regard to your involvement? You received some sort of package that was delivered from the Sumter Township Police Department?
Yes, in this case, the sample was received through the mail. That's how the majority of our samples get to our lab, as we cover the entire state. So it was received in the mail, and one of our forensic technicians logged the sample into our computer system. Basically, they opened the box, they cataloged the evidence that was received, and the paperwork that comes with it, and we make notes in our computer system of any discrepancies labeled on the blood tubes and that paperwork, and then it awaits further testing.
And this is called the chain of custody because we want to make sure that the sample you have is actually linked up to the person that's on trial, correct?
Yes.
And what sort of protections do you have with regard to your lab report there? You have a number that's been assigned to this particular defendant, this particular person?
Yes, so we have both the incident number that comes from the agency that's on that submission paperwork, and then we also assign each case its own unique laboratory number that stays with that case throughout any testing.
Okay, and then with regard to this particular sample that you received, what did you do with regard to the sample?
So I was assigned to test this sample for cannabinoids, so that includes THC and its metabolites. So basically, the way the process works is I would remove a small portion of the blood from the original blood tube. I then treat it with various chemicals in order to remove any proteins in the blood, anything that would not be a potential drug of interest. And after that filtration process, I run it on an instrument known as liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. So the liquid chromatography part of that separates out all of the chemicals in a sample, and the mass spectrometry allows us to identify which chemicals they are. So that is the process that I followed in order to test the sample.
So in this particular case, when you did that process, what particular chemical was identified?
I found 𝙤9 THC and 𝙤9 carboxy THC, which is an inactive metabolite.
And if you could tell the jury, give some sort of explanation as to what those two, what does that mean? A nanogram is what?
A nanogram is the typical concentration that we would expect to see this or most of the other drugs we test for. That's just the amount that we would expect to see in someone's blood. If you have a prescribed medication, you may see that it's prescribed in a certain number of milligrams. By the time that gets distributed out throughout your entire system and all the blood is provided, we would expect to see most drugs in maintenance.
And what about the carboxy side of it? What is that? What would that mean?
The carboxy is the breakdown product of the 𝙤9 THC and is inactive, meaning it would have no impact on us.
So in this particular case, the result was 0.5 point something nanograms, correct?
Yes, 5.8 nanograms of the 𝙤9 THC.
And that would be inactive within the system at the time the blood was drawn.
Yes, it is active.
Which means somebody had recently ingested the marijuana.
I would not be able to say if it was recently used or not.
Okay. With regard to the effects of marijuana, I know that you were clear in your communication prior that you were not going to be able to speak as to this particular defendant with regard to marijuana. But in terms of what would you expect to see as manifestation of somebody that had 5 nanograms of marijuana in their system? What sort of behavior?
Your Honor, I would like to give some qualification that the witness is qualified to testify as to the behavior of somebody. She's qualified to give the numbers and to say she did the test, but I haven't heard anything saying she's qualified to give the behavior.
Mr. Hurley, you want to try to lay some foundation? Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I think what I was trying to get at regarding this exhibit was the opinion of Ms. 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙦 is based upon some scientific research that she has read and understands. I certainly don't. But what it says is going to be, this is entitled Cannabis Effects on Driving Skills. No, I'm not going to say that what is in here necessarily applies to Mr. Block, but I think as a general rule, as a general understanding of what could potentially be affected, what the driving skills could be affected by the use of cannabis. I think that's what's key here, and that's what the jury needs to hear.
Judges, the witnesses testified in answer. She said she can't give an opinion on how the most recent use. So if she
Well, I
can't,
think what she testified, she couldn't say when the use, the result of 5.8, she can't, from that, you can't determine when that went into the body
That's correct.
or when it went into the sample. I don't know how you would say it. But the person that had the sample you tested, you can't say when they ingested.
No.
Okay. So that's what she said.
I won't keep going with it, but if the witness is going to testify as to what she has read in an article, I can't go off the examiner.
That's hearsay.
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
I texted her.
So you can,
If it was her article and her article, then there'd be no problem.
well, I agree.
Your Honor, in her CV, it indicates that Ms. Kellogg has been trained in, as an expert with regard to cannabis effects and driving skills.
Well, that's why I asked you to lay some foundation, and you started talking about an article that's not coming in because it's hearsay. So if you want to ask her more questions about what qualifies her to give the opinion leading to the question you want to ask, then try to lay the foundation. I'll give Mr. Duncan a chance to follow up.
Still, with regard to that issue, your CV indicates that you have specialized training and you are an expert with regard to cannabis effects on driving skills.
I don't believe it specifically says that I'm an expert or that it is in cannabis effects on driving skills, but I do have training and experience on the effects of various drugs on
Various drugs, including cannabis.
Objection, she's not an expert. She just said she's not an expert. So, I mean, is she going to give expert testimony or just lay testimony?
So let's nail it down. I think what you're saying is a relevancy objection.
Well, yes.
I just want to know what he's going to respond to.
Yes. I believe she'd have to come in as an expert and be qualified as an expert to testify the way she wants to testify. She's saying she's not an expert, right with that. I'm not an expert. So she's going to give lay testimony as to testimony that should come in through an expert.
Response.
And I believe that she is an expert with regard to.
Well, she just said she wasn't.
With regard to what's listed there in terms of okay.
Well, let's just do it this way, because this is only a marijuana case. Are you an expert? Have you ever been qualified as an expert as to the effects of marijuana on individuals?
not on a specific individual, but overall effects that it could have.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
can't say
Okay.
expert because it's determined by.
Okay. Right. So you can talk about what effects it could have, but you can't specify as to this particular defendant on a particular date and time.
That's correct.
All right. Does that clarify?
I'm not asking her to speak directly as to anything specific as to Mr. Blau.
Okay.
Just what the general effects would be.
I guess I object for relevancy because it doesn't pertain to the defendant. It's going to be specifically stated by a witness. It doesn't pertain to the defendant, but it may happen. And prejudicial, it's prejudicial testimony coming. It says testimony of what might happen, but it might not affect the defendant. So I got two of it.
Well, pick one and talk about it. Relevancy or prejudicial.
Expand out with regard to the jury about what would be the possible effects of cannabis on somebody who had used cannabis. I'm not saying that I'm not asking Ms. Kellogg to testify with regard to this specific defendant about what he did on the video or anything like that. Just in general, I think it's important for the jury to hear it.
Okay, so then that gets us to the prejudicial versus probative. If it doesn't help in this case, if it doesn't apply to this defendant, how is it not more prejudicial than probative? You want to plant in their mind that it could make somebody under the influence.
To prove the truth of the matter asserted, I'm just offering it as general knowledge that this particular witness has.
Then it's not relevant. I mean, you could ask her what she knows about baking banana cream pies, and it's not relevant.
Well, I think cannabis effects on driving skills is relevant to this particular case. Maybe not in this particular defendant, but in general, I think it's.
But then that gets to the probative and prejudicial. You're going to plant in their mind that 5.8 could be this, but you've got nobody that can tie this to him.
Well, that's where they're going to have to make that decision.
But they've got to have evidence to do that. So unless you've got some offer of proof to get us from that theoretical to that live body, it's more prejudicial than probative. I mean, if you want to have a chance to talk to her in your OIC, we'll take a break, but we got theoretical and we got live bodies. There's got to be some kind of evidential connection.
I don't think it's going to be productive to take any more time on this issue. So, so what you have there, your two exhibits, they're admitted, Your Honor, exhibit 1 and 2.
Yeah, those have been admitted.
With the relative time difference from the time the blood is drawn until from when the incident happened to the time the blood was drawn, would that have a factor in any way in terms of the result of nanograms in the body?
I am not able to tell you what a potential result may have been at any other time. What I can tell you is that the peak 𝛿9 THC concentration typically occurs within 15 minutes of someone smoking, and it only goes down from there. It does not go back up.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have.
Your witness.
Let's go up. On my side of the question. So when I'm looking at that test, I see 5.8 milligrams, and you do this all the time. So what is the range? 0 will be no active in THC, correct?
Correct.
So what's the range going forward? What's the highest amount to be?
We quantify from 1 to 100 nanograms. I have seen some that are over 100. I have seen some that are less than 1 or negative.
So the scale is from 0 to 100, but it could go past 100.
Yes, we just would not assign a number to it past that. It would be one investment.
And this number was 5.8.
Yes.
Another brilliant.
Ms. Kellogg, I've got a question for you. So I think what I heard you say is that peak levels after smoking would be at 15 minutes. What about other ways of getting the THC in your system, like gummies or edibles or vapes or anything else?
So
Does it change?
about the same as smoking, because that is one of the fastest way to get any drug into your system.
Okay.
Because it interacts directly with the blood in the lungs.
Okay.
But it was eaten. It does take longer because it has to go through the digestive system.
Okay.
So
Okay.
an hour and a half to 2 hours that it tends to peak after
Okay.
eating that way.
Okay. Thank you. Grandpa was right. Learn something new every day.
So with regard to the range, you have from 0 to, in this case, 5.9. Does it range higher? Could it go to 10 or 20?
Yes, we report up to 100.
Up to what?
100.
Okay, so the spectrum is from 0 to 100, in this case, 5.9, and 5.9 is that a significant number?
Well, she's just, I would object to testifying she can't make, well, I'll look with the
Withdraw the objection.
Yes.
Okay.
It was 5.8, and it's a number that we are able to report at.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
So I think you said, I'm trying to figure out how you said it, but I think you said that you only deal with 1 to 100.
That is the range
Right.
in which you report a specific.
Right. Because under 1, it's not significant enough to be accurate to report? Or why is the reason that you wouldn't put a 0.5, for example?
Yes. So how it actually works is we report down to approximately a 0.5, but not with a specific number. We
Okay.
would just report it as less than 1.
Okay.
We are only able to report within the range that we have calibrators covering. So our calibrators
Okay.
end at 100.
Okay.
We have to pick a number somewhere.
Right.
So we can't assign numbers.
Right. All right. So theoretically, somebody could have 200 nanograms, but your instruments don't register that range. So you just know it's more that it's like my speedometer, right? My speedometer goes to 120. I may be going 150, but my speedometer says 120.
Correct.
And just for the record, World Wide Web, I don't go 120 or 150. So it's all about the instrument that caps you at 100.
Yes.
There's no biological reason. It's just basically that's the needle only goes so far.
That's
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up questions based on that?
No.
I think you can step down. We're done with her. All right. Can we let her get back to Lansing?
Yes.
Any thought that you want to stick around for rebuttal or anything?
I have no.
She can go back to Lansing. All right. Drive safely, Miss Kellogg. Thank you. Watch my ramp here. Don't let it trip you.
Decline here. Thanks very much.
I'm going to bet we're ready for Officer Tony.
Yes.
Is it officer or sergeant? Officer? Glenn, would you call Officer Tony, please? Good morning again. Raise your right hand. Swear affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Settle in. Watch your step. Counsel, when you're ready.
Officer Tony, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Officer Kenneth Tony, Sumter Township Police Department.
And how long have you been the police officer for Sumter Township?
7 years, a little over 7 years.
7 years. Did you work somewhere else?
Retired from Van Buren Township, 28 years.
So altogether, you've been
35 years.
35 years as a police officer? Okay. And you went through training at the police academy somewhere at some point?
Wayne County Regional in 1992.
And you read all the standards, you've been certified as a police officer, and you continue to be certified as a police officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On this particular day involving this particular defendant, you recognize the man who was here is sitting next to brother counsel, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
Okay. You know him as Alan Block.
Alan Block.
Okay. This happened a couple years ago. At this point, April of 2024, April 13th. Can you tell the jury how you came about to encounter Mr. Block on that day in Sumter Township?
I was sent to a vehicle in the roadway with a guy passed out behind me.
And what that's a dirt road?
Yeah,
Clark Street? Clark Road?
Clark Road is a gravel roadway, and the
Okay.
caller said they were on the way to work and see.
And Clark is the boundary line between Sumter and Huron, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it just so happens that this defendant was on the Sumter side of the road,
Yes.
correct? So what did you received a call to go, what time of day or night was this?
I believe 7:30 in the morning. We had a similar call at 5:30 a.m. for a
Unless they're
scene.
ignoring us down the road. I mean, unless they're gonna show a foundation, that's not legal, my client.
Would that be relevant? That they had a prior call?
Is the testimony that it has something to do with my client. That's not at all.
Yeah, I don't know whether it does or doesn't,
All right, move on.
yes. So at the time that you encountered the defendant, what did you observe?
I pulled up, I've seen a vehicle matching what they gave us. And when I pulled to the side of it, I could see Mr. Block inside the driver's seat. Appeared to be passed out.
The door was open.
Door was open.
The car that you were given a description of was a red vehicle.
Yeah, it was a red, I believe, I'm not sure how I'd have to look through the report. I believe they just gave it as a red vehicle, red maroon vehicle.
So that matched up with the information you had. You approached the vehicle, you found somebody behind the wheel. Can you identify that person in court? Was it
Mr. Block sitting in the defense box.
Noted for the record.
Okay. And what was the initial encounter? What did that consist of with Mr. Block?
I walked up, he was in the driver's seat and he was obviously passed out.
So obviously passed out. How did that? Was he sleeping or was
Yeah, he
he
was
snoring? Or?
sleeping, snoring, door open, he's just laid out in the seat and he was out of it. And the car was in the middle of the roadway with the door open.
And when you pulled up, did he react to you?
No.
And how did you get a reaction from him?
Once I made contact with him, I reached in and touched his shoulder and was shaking. He asked me to wake up.
Okay, and then at that point, we have all this on body camera. Is that
Yes,
your
sir.
understanding? You were wearing a body camera that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have that body camera video. I believe it's been shared with brother counsel. If we could play that now.
That's when, can we approach that, we off the record those?
Sure.
We've done. Like, there's people who's gone. There's just about time. I'm trying to get there. But it would just put the operation out. So the next machine. So we just gotta start something. I do think that. Well, and all the probably with the writer. But both it out. And then a couple of sometime on it, because it's almost there. We don't get all that. I don't know if it's. Yeah. Okay. The machine is, let's see it. Let's see it.
So they can do the hours.
I want to make sure that.
And make sure it's the same one you saw.
Yes.
Who's going to play here?
I just got my, are they, if
Depends on him.
not, I can shut down and we can do it that way.
You want to watch it on earth before the presentation. You want to take the time out.
It's up to you. If you want to review it for credibility.
We have any doubt that it's the same video?
No, I think what the officer is suggesting that maybe we should look at it and make sure everything's split out, that's what we have.
Well, can't you just watch your counter?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. I don't want to take a break. So I was trying to do it with a share spreadsheet.
Your code is all to share. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I just lost you too. I just lost me. There we go.
The Sovereign Citizen.